had to go on my own journey.
Yeah.
And I had to really sit with the idea of, is the dream that has been in my parents' mind since I was born the only way that I can honor their sacrifice in America?
I am really happy to be here on Go Be Good with my friend, Dr. Candace Olusola, who is a paid speaker, life coach, and podcaster, all in one.
Yeah.
And Candace just completed in 2020 her Doctor of Pharmacy, and then she switched. You became a life coach.
I did.
And that is an amazing journey, because to become a Doctor of Pharmacy is no small thing. And I knew you through some of this as you were progressing through your studies.
Yeah.
And this is a very diligent and excellent student. And I'm sure you're a fabulous pharmacist. So how did this happen? How did you go into life coaching? And tell us about that journey, Candace.
Well, first off, thank you for having me on the show. I'm really excited to
Absolutely.
be on your show. So I had, obviously, you know, I went through pharmacy school. It was a fight to get through. And by the end, I was actually really excited to have my license. But a little bit before I got licensed at the top of 2020, I had done a few speaking opportunities. I've been doing speaking since I was a kid, but there were some particular speaking opportunities that I had, and opportunities to coach people. And then I was on someone's podcast as well, and I had never felt so exhilarating in my life doing this podcast. And I called my mom right after, and I was like, Mom, I think I need to do a podcast. This is awesome. So I started looking into it and trying to figure out, how am I going to do this podcast? What is it going to be about? And I had an idea actually years prior that I was reminded of. So I started planning the podcast. I started planning opportunities to speak, and I started trying to coach people while I was a pharmacist at the same time. So I got my license mid-February of 2020, and then the pandemic hit mid-March, and we were on lockdown. I got hired as a pharmacist summer of 2020, and I knew a month in that this was not for me anymore. And I think it was the structure of pharmacy and the area of pharmacy that I was most passionate about, and I'm still very passionate about. But I realized that my passions were shifting towards the life coaching, towards the speaking, towards the podcasting. And by the end of August, I had said my final goodbye to my job and went home and started speaking on TV. I was speaking at different events for parents, for pharmacy schools, news stations across the ocean, like in Grenada, where my mom is from. And so it was just this really exhilarating time. And at the same time, it was a season for me to recognize that I have all of the things that I need to do this very, very new venture.
Yeah. So I love that you are making this transformation. You have made it, but I want to learn more about how that happened and why. What was that driver, Candace, for you? I mean, were you the kid in the family that was always entertaining everybody, or tell me more about all of that?
Yes, to that. I was the family, I guess, clown. I was constantly making people laugh. I had this really great ability to make people laugh a lot. And everywhere I went, it was just something that people picked up on about me. And they recognized that I was very outgoing. My elementary school, we did this musical called the Three Nanny Goats Gruff instead of the Three Billy Goats Gruff, because only the girls were in charge. And so I was the third, like, big bad nanny goat. And to this day, I remember the whole room just laughing so hard. Like, whose kid is this?
Who's that tromping over my bridge?
Yes, that was me. That
Do your
was
line,
me.
do your line,
That
come
was
on.
me. Who's that trumpeter over my bridge? I mean, I was so extra, and so, and they're just like, what is going on? And from that moment, I remember that moment vividly, feeling like I could do this forever. This just feels like home, to be on stage, to be performing, and I was constantly being put into programs where I could do performance. So my mom really saw that in me a lot, and I love her for that.
So Candace, what is your definition of a life coach?
For me, being a life coach is someone who's willing to bring out the questions that you might not know to ask yourself. So that way you're basically opening your own window into your own possibilities. I'm just here to facilitate your ability to see the window. That's it. I'm not trying to give you all the advice in the world. I'm not the big guru in the sky. Like, I'm literally just helping you turn towards the windows, turn towards the doors, those things that look really scary. As long as I can get you to turn towards and maybe ask some specific questions that might allow you to have the confidence to open the door or to open the window, then that's what life coaching is.
What are some of the subjects you cover with people?
One of my favorite topics, I actually have two. One is your discount stickers versus your full price tag.
Tell me more.
Okay, so your discount stickers, if you go shopping, obviously if you go to a store and they have maybe a clearance rack or something, they might have the full price tag on the item, but then they have the markdown stickers on top of them, right? Which might be an orange or purple or whatever. Okay, and they'll have the lower price on it. Okay, here's the thing: those stickers can come off, but in life, when we see a discount sticker on ourselves, whether that's I'm ugly or I'm incapable of, these things that life piles on us, whether it's from people, circumstances, whatever the case may be, that make us think that equals our actual value, those are our discount stickers, right? Now, when we go shopping, we're looking for the discount sticker. I'm always here for a good bargain, okay?
Right.
But in real life, when you feel discounted, it doesn't feel good.
Right.
It actually continues to make you feel like you're deteriorated, you're worthless, you're nothing. And I like to help people point out what are those discount stickers for you that you carry every day. And my job is to help guide you through the process of not only recognizing, but you doing the work to peel off the stickers to find out who are you, what is your full price tag, what is your worth. And I like to have people decide, like, if you could create the price that you wanted, what would be your value? Do you want to say, I am confident, I am loved, I am a powerhouse, whatever it is that it is.
Right.
And it's usually a collection of things. So we're not just one thing.
Right,
we're not unidimensional. So that collection of words would encompass your full price tag. Now, there's a barrier between the discount sticker and the full price tag, and we need to close that. Remove those discount stickers until you're only able to decide that I can stand in the reality of my full price tag. So that's one exercise I do. My second favorite exercise that I like to walk people through is choosing your rock bottom versus hitting it.
Okay.
Right? So that's like if you were to get into an elevator and there is a ground floor, right? And then there's whatever the highest floor is in the building. You have every right to let other people press the buttons and take you up and down and up, all around. And you can end up on the ground floor because you haven't actively decided, I'm either getting off here or I will not go lower. And you actually have the choice to. Even when you're still in the thing that's making you feel like you're going lower.
Okay.
That's a mental decision that we have to
very
decide.
Empowering.
Yes.
But what is your system, or what is your way of helping people take this approach?
Yeah. So I usually start off people with discount stickers to full price tag exercise by having them take the time to say, you know, what are the things that make me feel devalued?
Yeah.
And having them list out at least 5 of those things. So, for example, that might be, I feel worthless. And to say why. Yeah. Why do you think you feel this way? Do you know where that came from? And if not, great, because we have some opportunities to ask some really good questions to find out what is the root of that. And then I have them then, now that you have this at least 5-word list of things that you feel discounted about and why, now what are 5 words that completely counteract that you would rather be your full price tag than this? Even if you don't believe it's possible right now to achieve this, but you have enough hope to work towards the opportunity that this could be possible forever and always and never go away. Write that down, and then over the next however many weeks, we will choose specific areas in your full price tag to lean into. Yeah. Right? How can you lean into this aspect of, I am confident? What is something you could do that might initially probably make you a little scared to do, but just try it?
Tell me a little bit more about how you know, what, I guess first, what are you seeing that young people are really dealing with right now that you feel you can help them with? Let's talk about that first.
Yeah. I think right now there's a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
And I know the pandemic has added to that, and I don't want to diminish the weight that the pandemic has put on just people of all ages, races, nations.
Right.
But this sense of trying to figure out, who am I? What is my purpose? What am I doing? Is this even worth my time? All of those questions are bringing about a level of anxiety that I don't think in my lifetime I've seen before. Yeah. So widespread and so public. So I think with what I do as a life coach specifically is try to encourage young people to really look into themselves on where is the anxiety coming from? Because I think a lot of people like to say that they're anxious, but they're scared to look at the root of it. They're afraid to go down that it's a scary path of having to remember things that they might not want to remember. But I think because I've done that work myself, and I remember thinking it was scary, and then realizing when I got there, it was a memory. It wasn't tangible anymore. It's the shackles of a memory that I actually had power over. I had the key to that allowed me to go, oh, I don't need to be anxious. And I start to figure out, who am I under the rubble of my anxiety?
I feel like I'm sitting in on this imaginary coaching session between Candace and her younger self.
My poor younger self.
If you were looking at your younger self, you know, maybe the same age as some of these folks that you're working with now, what are some of the things you would tell yourself or tell them as a result of the work you've done?
Man, the age that I'm thinking of right now is 14. I think 14 was one of my lowest years.
14 is a hard year.
It is.
13 is hard.
But 14 man,
14.
14.
Yeah.
I think what I would have told myself, even at 14, was that who you are on the outside, or like how your physical body shows up in the world, doesn't have anything to do with the value that's placed on your life. Yeah. I thought they were one and the same. And I ran with that, and it really deteriorated how I saw myself.
None of us are at our best at 14.
No.
Let's just be honest, right? I mean, there's a lot of growth to do physically and personally, and to get to know yourself and to feel comfortable in your own skin. There's no question.
Yeah.
So I love what you're saying. I think that's going to resonate, and does resonate with people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest one. Next to the pressures of, you know, who are you in society in relation to who your family is? Do you have to carry that? No, you don't actually have to carry that. Be you. If other people have commentary on who they think you're supposed to be because who you're related to and what they do, that's a them problem. You know, it's hard at 14 and 24 and up.
One thing that you and I have spoken about before is how we are constantly receiving messages from our friends, our family, social media. They come at us from all, and many of those messages are positive, but many of them are not.
Yeah.
So how do you give people coping skills for dealing with those messages that come that aren't necessarily the most positive messages?
Well, first I would have to say that not everything is toxic. I think that's an overused word right now, that, you know, as soon as it's something that we don't like to hear, we automatically label it as toxic or manipulative. And I think we need to be very careful about when and why we use those words. But I think also being able to recognize first who is speaking to me. What is my relationship with them?
Yeah.
And how do they express concern and love? Because how they express it might not be the way that you would prefer to receive it, but it might be the way that they best see it being worthy of expressing. Try to show grace over however that was delivered, and try to extrapolate what the actual message was, so that way you're not building up a wall of resentment because of how it was said versus what specifically was the person trying to say, if they didn't do it in the way that you would prefer to hear it.
Changing behavior is not an instant thing. It's something that takes time, because we get stuck in patterns of thought and of behavior that keep us trapped. And so I can totally see how using some simple but not easy techniques with your encouragement and your accountability with them can really help somebody turn around.
Yes.
And I think that's just, again, a wonderful gift, except that they're going to pay you. We're not doing this for free.
This is true.
But this is what you bring, and that's just huge value, Candace.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah. I have a big passion for it because of the opportunity that I had to. I feel like I kind of went through a self-coaching thing, because I thought I had to go through it by myself. And then I got my own coach, and it was actually for a health and fitness coach, but it was turned into something that was more like a life coaching thing, and things were starting to click so much faster, and I was going, wait, you've just sped up a process for me towards the end that I feel like I've been dragging myself through cement to see if this was a possibility. I'm so glad I had a coach to help me like expedite the process a little bit and get me to this space. And so that's why I'm passionate about that. I don't want people to feel like they have to try to figure all of this out by themselves. That's why coaches are there. That's why therapists are there. That's why psychiatrists are there. Mental health in general, like this is a big thing right now in our time, especially after the pandemic. And so I'm very passionate about people knowing that they have every right to have someone in their life to walk them through that life. We were not meant to do life by ourselves.
I agree.
So I'm very passionate about going on that journey with people.
And if you are feeling stuck, if you feel like you've been dealing with maybe what is your calling, what is your purpose, if you feel like you've been dealing with family expectations that don't match up with what you feel is true about you, Candace may be just the person you need to contact, and I hope you will.